For years, we've all thought about executive dashboards as, well, reports, a way to see what's already happened. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? What if a dashboard isn't supposed to be a report, but a cockpit? Not a rearview mirror showing you the road you've already traveled, but a powerful set of controls to actually steer the business in real time. That's the big shift we're going to dig into today. How to transform our data from a boring historical record into a genuine strategic navigation system.
But there's some serious turbulence we have to navigate first. Get this. A staggering 60% of all business intelligence projects completely fail to deliver any meaningful insight to leadership. Just let that sink in for a second. More than half of these incredibly expensive, time-consuming projects, they end up being useless. And the reason why is almost always a huge disconnect between the data people are showing and the real strategic questions leaders are desperately trying to answer.
So, I've got a question for you, and I want you to be honest. Think about your company's main dashboard right now. Is it a rearview mirror? Is it just a pretty report card telling you how last quarter sales went or what happened last month? If it is, you're trying to navigate today's high-speed business world by looking backward. It's time we all started looking forward, out the front windshield.
To help us get there, here's our flight plan. First, we'll talk about why so many of these dashboards are basically grounded planes that never take off. Then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of building the engine, the data foundation. After that, we'll chart our course with a strategic narrative, design a flight deck that's actually easy to use, and finally, we'll talk about what it really takes to become a pilot who's ready to make decisions.
Okay, first up, the grounded plane. Before we can build something way better, we really need to understand exactly why that traditional approach to reporting just doesn't cut it for steering a business. It's not just about showing old data. It's a fundamental problem with how they're designed and what we think their purpose is. So what's the alternative? Well, it's what we're calling the Executive Cockpit. And the words here really matter. We're not talking about a report or even a dashboard. This is a centralized environment. Its job isn't just to show you things, it's to deliver three things, like instantly. Clarity on what's happening, context for why it's happening, and the confidence you need to actually make a decision. And it has to do all of that within seconds. Of course, even the coolest looking cockpit is totally worthless if the engine is unreliable. And that brings us to our next part, building the engine. The entire system. I mean, all the pretty charts, all the amazing insights. It's all built on a foundation of data. If that foundation has cracks, nothing else you do matters. The whole thing will just fall apart. So the absolute number one starting point is establishing what's called a single source of truth, or SSOT. Now, this isn't just some techie buzzword. It is the bedrock of trust. It means the revenue number in your cockpit is the exact same number the finance team has in their official reports. Because the second an executive sees a number that doesn't match up with something else they've seen, poof, all confidence in the entire system is gone. Without a single source of truth, you don't have a cockpit. You just have a panel of conflicting dials that nobody trusts.
So how do you actually build this thing? It's not magic. It's just a disciplined three-step process. First, you have to connect all your key systems. Your ERP for the financial stuff, your CRM for customer data, all your marketing platforms, the whole shebang. Second, you pull all of that raw data into one central place, like a data warehouse. And third, and listen, this is the most critical part, you standardize it. You define what an active customer is or what net revenue means one time in that central model. That way, every single chart, every single KPI is calculated the exact same way every single time. No exceptions. Now, a big choice you have to make when you're building that engine is the data model. For a quick and dirty prototype, you might use what's called one big table. It's kind of like throwing all your car parts into one giant box. It's fast to set up, but finding anything is slow and a real pain. But for a real executive cockpit, you need what's called a star schema. The star schema is more like a perfectly organized mechanics toolbox. You've got a central place for your core numbers, the facts, like sales and quantities. And then you have separate dedicated drawers for all the ways you might describe those facts, the dimensions like time or product or customer. It takes more work up front for sure, but when a leader asks a complex question like, hey, show me sales for this product in the Northeast last quarter, the system knows exactly where to look. It's incredibly fast, and that's why it gives you the high performance and scalability you need.
Okay, our engine is built, it's humming along nicely. Now we can start thinking about where we're actually going. You can't fly without a map, and this is where our data starts to tell a real story. So now we're charting the course, and we're going to create a strategic narrative that connects every single number on the dashboard back to the company's biggest goals.
The absolute best tool for this is the KPI driver tree. Now, this is not just another list of metrics, it's a logical map. It visually breaks down a huge, high-level goal, like profitability, into the specific operational levers that someone can actually pull. It directly answers the question, if I want to make our profit go up, what exactly should my teams be doing right now?
Let's look at a super simple example here. See? Profitability isn't just some number that appears out of thin air. It's the outcome of a battle between your revenue and your costs. And revenue itself is driven by two things: getting new customers and selling more to the ones you already have. So if profit suddenly dips, a driver tree like this lets you see why instantly. Was it because new sales fell off a cliff? Or maybe our marketing span went through the roof? It helps you pinpoint the problem, turning a fuzzy issue into something you can actually fix.
We have our powerful engine and we have our map. Now it's time to build the actual interface, the part the pilot is going to use. This is all about designing the flight deck. Because let's be honest, even the most accurate, powerful data in the world is completely useless if it's presented in a way that's confusing or cluttered. This is where so many projects just crash and burn. The number one guiding principle here is what I call the 3-second rule. Think about it. A leader is busy. They're jumping from meeting to meeting. They don't have time to sit there and solve a complex puzzle. When they open that cockpit view, they have to know the state of the business, what's good, what's bad, and what needs their attention right now, in 3 seconds, or less. This rule forces you to be absolutely ruthless about clarity and prioritization in your design.
So how on earth do you achieve that kind of speed? Well, you can start by taking advantage of how our eyes naturally scan a page. We always put the most critical numbers, like total revenue or profit margin, in the top left corner, because that's where the eye goes first. We use size to show what's important. The biggest, most important metric should be the biggest thing on the screen. Simple, right? And we use color very carefully but powerfully as a status signal. A clean, uncluttered layout isn't just about looking nice. It's about lowering the mental effort it takes for the user to understand what they're seeing. Okay, let's talk about something that is absolutely crucial for building trust: forecasting. And just think about this quote for a second. When we show a forecast as a single number, like we're going to hit $10 million next quarter, we are basically lying. We're communicating a level of certainty that just doesn't exist in the real world. It tricks leaders into being overconfident, and it sets the data team up for failure when reality, which is always messy, doesn't perfectly match that one number. The professional, credible way to do this is to be honest and visualize the uncertainty. Instead of a single forecast line, use a shaded confidence band. Think of it as an envelope of possibility that shows the likely range of outcomes. Be transparent. Use a simple little tooltip to state the assumptions you made, like, hey, this assumes our historical churn rate stays the same. And always show when the data was last refreshed. These tiny details build a massive amount of credibility. All right, let's bring this plane in for a landing. We've built our engine, we've charted our course, and we've designed our flight deck. The final piece of the puzzle is the person sitting in the pilot seat. This is all about what it takes to become a decision-ready pilot, someone who's truly empowered by this new tool to steer their business with skill and confidence. Here it is. This is your roadmap for building a genuine executive cockpit. And notice what's number one: define the audience and their critical questions first. The technology always comes second. Then you lock down your data governance to get that single source of truth we hammered on about. You build the story with your KPI trees. You design for that 3-second clarity. And finally, and this is a big one, don't try to build the perfect finished product from day one. Launch a minimum viable product, get it into your leaders' hands, and then make it better based on what they actually tell you. And so we end right back where we started, with a direct challenge for you. Take a really hard look at the tools your company is using for navigation. Are you building a system that's designed to proactively steer the future? Or are you spending all your time and resources creating beautiful, detailed reports about a past that you can no longer change? The answer to that question is going to define your ability to navigate whatever's coming next.